Strange and unexpected things happen to those we assume will always be there, those people who seem like permanent fixtures in our lives no matter what. This is especially true for couples who appear inseparable, who build a shared life in front of millions and give the impression that their bond is unbreakable. But when those ties unravel, it presents a choice. Do we let the loss shatter us, or do we allow it to reshape us into something new? This is the story of Mark Consuelos, a man whose life took a dramatic and surprising turn following his deeply painful divorce from Kelly Ripa, one half of Hollywood's most admired couples for over 2 decades. Tonight we delve into Mark's brave and unexpected decision, one that shocked his followers and fans alike. It's a story about heartbreak, transformation, and ultimately, hope. If you think you know this story, think again. What Mark chose after the end of his marriage was anything but predictable. A picture-perfect couple. The rise and reign of Kelly and Mark. For nearly 30 years, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos were seen as the quintessential Hollywood couple. From their early soap opera days on All My Children to their whirlwind Las Vegas wedding, in 1996, they seemed to embody a love story pulled straight from a fairy tale. Their chemistry wasn't just confined to the screen. It spilled over into real life, making them beloved by millions who followed their every move. Together, they built a life that fans adored. Their 3 children, Michael, Lola, and Wen, were often glimpsed during holiday specials and public events, embodying the image of a close-knit, supportive family. Kelly and Mark also brought their chemistry to the small screen as co-hosts, on Live with Kelly and Mark, sharing playful banter and inside jokes that made audiences feel like they were part of the family. But even the brightest love stories can have shadows. Behind the scenes, the demands of fame, the pressures of parenting, and the relentless scrutiny of the public eye took their toll. What seemed like an unbreakable bond was quietly beginning to crack. The end of an era, when love stories fade. The announcement of their divorce rocked their fans worldwide. For many, it was as if a part of their own personal history had been upended. The couple had been a symbol of enduring love in an industry where relationships often burn out fast. When their split became public, the heartbreak was palpable. But for Mark, the divorce was not just a headline, it was a deeply personal, shattering experience. Imagine waking up one day to find that the life you built with someone, the rhythms and routines shared for decades, had suddenly vanished. The home still had lights on, but the comfort, the warmth, the laughter was gone. The news forced Mark to confront an age-old question that many face after a long-term relationship ends. If I am no longer my partner's other half, then who am I? It was a question that haunted him through many lonely nights. Friends recall Mark walking the streets of New York City, silent and contemplative, grappling with whether the best days of his life were behind him. The crossroads, breaking or becoming. At the darkest moments of heartbreak, life often plants a seed, a small glimmer of hope that, while everything may seem lost, a new path might be just ahead. For Mark, that seed came in the form of a radical decision. Instead of clinging to the remnants of his old life or attempting to immediately recapture the spotlight with flashy projects and public appearances, Mark chose silence. He stepped away from the glare of Hollywood's cameras and noise, choosing solitude over spectacle. In the early months after the split, many assumed he was hiding, retreating in defeat. But in truth, Mark was building something entirely new inside himself. He turned to journaling, meditation, and long periods of isolation, far removed from the glamour and bustle of his former life. The man who had thrived on public attention was now focused on rediscovering his private self. The unexpected path. From actor to community advocate. The most astonishing part of Mark's transformation came when he revealed the direction of his next chapter. A full departure from acting and celebrity. Instead of chasing new roles or hosting gigs, Mark dedicated himself to giving back, working quietly to rebuild communities, support small businesses, and mentor young entrepreneurs. He funneled his time, energy, and resources into projects aimed at revitalizing neighborhoods and inspiring future generations. This shift surprised many. It's rare for someone who's spent decades basking in the spotlight to embrace a more humble, behind-the-scenes role, especially when fame and fortune were still within reach. But for Mark, this was never about status. It was about healing, growth, and purpose. Lessons from loss. More than a final chapter. Mark's journey after divorce teaches a vital lesson. Sometimes, an ending is really a new beginning in disguise. The split was not just a closing chapter. It was a mirror reflecting what truly matters beyond fame and fortune. He realized that success isn't measured by red carpets or box office numbers, but by the impact you have when no one is watching. Helping others became a path to healing his own brokenness. In reaching out to communities and nurturing new talents, Mark found a way to mend what pain had torn apart inside him. Rediscovering a passion, writing as therapy and legacy. As months passed, Mark's self-imposed solitude also sparked a return to an old passion: writing. Before his acting career, Mark had nurtured a love for literature and storytelling. Now, away from the cameras, he began filling notebooks with journal entries that gradually evolved into a manuscript. Unlike the scripts he had once memorized, this work was raw and deeply personal, a memoir and guide aimed at those grappling with grief, loss, and the search for identity after trauma. Close friends believed that this book, if published, could serve as a beacon of hope for many, offering insight and encouragement for anyone facing the daunting task of starting over. A story that resonates. Across generations, Mark's choice is especially meaningful for people in their 50s, 60s, and beyond who have faced their own share of loss, whether through divorce, retirement, or the death of loved ones. His story reminds us all that no matter our age, innovation and renewal are possible. Heartbreak doesn't have to be the end. It can be the catalyst for profound transformation. The unforgettable legacy of Kelly and Mark. Though their marriage ended, Kelly and Mark's shared history remains a vital part of Hollywood's tapestry. Their nearly three-decade partnership, both as entertainers and parents, was remarkable in an industry known for fleeting relationships. Their journey underscores a universal truth. Relationships require work, and sometimes love stories end. Not because love failed, but because life evolves. Theirs is a legacy not of failure, but of resilience, growth, and authenticity. The emotional toll and support from loved ones. Divorce took a heavy emotional toll on Mark. Friends describe him as reflective, haunted by unanswered questions, and deeply affected by the unraveling of what he believed was unbreakable. Yet this vulnerability is part of his strength. Kelly, for her part, has been supportive of Mark's decision to step back and heal. Though their marriage is over, the bond they shared hasn't entirely faded. Kelly remains focused on her career and family, navigating her own path forward with grace. Fans and the public respond. When news of the divorce and Mark's life-changing decision broke, fans reacted with a mixture of heartbreak and admiration. Social media was flooded with messages of compassion and support, many expressing shock that their beloved couple had parted ways. Yet, Mark's choice to prioritize healing and community work over the spotlight earned widespread respect. Hashtags like #StayStrongMark and #support. Kelly trended, showing that their audience, though saddened, stood behind them both in this new chapter. What lies ahead? A new chapter of discovery. As Mark continues his journey, sources say he's embracing quieter pursuits, writing, producing, traveling, and reconnecting with family and old friends. This time is about rediscovering who he is beyond the public image, beyond the roles he played on screen, and beyond his identity as part of a famous couple. For many, his path serves as a powerful reminder. Even after heartbreak, new beginnings are possible, and they can be richer and more meaningful than anything that came before. Were final thoughts. Growth born from heartbreak. The shocking news of Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos' divorce marked the end of an era for fans worldwide. But Mark's decision to step away from Hollywood and dedicate himself to healing and community service signals a hopeful new beginning. His story is a testament to resilience, the ability to rise from pain, redefine success, and find purpose beyond loss. It reminds us that sometimes the most profound transformations happen when we let go of the familiar and bravely step into the unknown. In a world obsessed with fame and fortune, Mark's journey teaches us that true strength lies in vulnerability, kindness, and the courage to reinvent ourselves, no matter where life takes us.